Tyson Franklin, and welcome to this week's episode of the Podiatry Legends podcast. With me today is Andrew Albon. I am going to read through the bio that Andrew provided me because it's one of the best bios somebody has actually provided me. It's fantastic. So, Andrew is a third-generation podiatrist following in the footsteps of his mum, his uncle, and his grandfather. Graduated in 2014, initially worked in the NHS before moving into private practice. Last year, his clinic was told it had to vacate the premises because developers wanted to build flats where his clinic was located. And this gave Andrew a choice, fight or flight sort of scenario. He could have thrown in the towel and gone back to the NHS, maybe could have got a job with somebody else. But instead, it gave him the kick in the bum that he needed to set up his dream clinic. Since then, he's employed 2 new graduates within the last 6 months, and he's actually enjoying the process of mentoring and developing them into better podiatrists. But during this process, a light bulb moment made him realize that connecting with other podiatrists in town and foot health practitioners would be much better than seeing them as competition. And now he loves networking and is building a great team around his Sussex Foot Care Clinic. So Andrew, welcome to the Podiatry Legends podcast.
Thank you, Tyson. A very good introduction there. Better than I could have put it myself.
Yeah, but it was like I asked people for bios, and every now and then I'll get a really long bio that has a lot of information in it, but yours was just very succinct with the stages that you've gone through and also related into the topic when I said, hey, what would you like? Yeah, what's something that we could talk about? And you said networking with local podiatrists. So when I read through your bio, I went, yeah, this just actually makes sense, but there's a lot to unpack, which I want to get through first before we get to that. And I don't have to probably ask you, why did you get into podiatry? Because it looks like it's in your blood.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely in the blood, but I wouldn't say that kind of was the override. When I was at school now, I never thought, oh, I'm going to be a podiatrist. Even after school, I basically went off traveling when I was 18. So yeah, so after college. So I was always like heavy into sports. So I always thought I was going to do like sports science at uni. But yeah, a friend of mine was going traveling and he said, do you want to come? And I said, okay, I'm going to sell my car that my mum and dad have just got me. And I was traveling for a bit. So yeah, my dad wasn't too pleased, but.
How long did you travel for?
So we traveled for 6 months. We did New Zealand, Australia, Thailand, and a bit of America. So
okay,
yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, so you didn't do the simple Europe, which is only 2.5 hours away.
Could do that anytime, can't we? No, we thought we'd go to the other side of the world.
So whereabouts in New Zealand did you go to? Whereabouts in Australia did you end up traveling through?
So in New Zealand, we did the Kiwi experience. So it's like a bus that like tours you around. So we went from top of Auckland all the way down south to Christchurch.
Okay.
So we just stopped. We basically spent like a night in each place. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I was 18, so we were partying quite a bit.
New Zealand's a nice place, though. It is a really nice place.
It's very nice. I did a skydive there, so yeah, good time. And then yeah, Australia was like up the east coast. Yeah, Melbourne up to Cairns.
Oh, so you came all the way up to Cairns?
I did, absolutely. Yeah, one of my favourite places as well, actually.
Yeah, what did you like about Cairns? What was it about when you got to Cairns? What was it that you liked more than anything else?
Definitely the ocean. The Great Barrier Reef. You know, once you've done that, there's nothing quite as good, really. So even if you're snorkeling there, doing that at 18, I've never found anywhere better than to do it.
I know. I've had people say, because where we are, like we're close to Fiji and all that, because I live in Cairns. But we've gone to Fiji, we've gone to Thailand, some of the Asian countries, and people say, "Oh, are you going to snorkel on the reef?" And you go, bit hard to go and snorkel on the reef when I think we've got we have the best reef in the world at our doorstep.
Yeah,
so, and once you've snorkeled on the Great Barrier Reef, everything else doesn't seem as good.
No, exactly. Yeah, so that was we done that, and then Thailand was just the last leg. We had no money left, but we still lived like kings there. So,
yeah, you can.
Yeah. So that was a good part. So essentially, I got back after traveling, and I needed a job because I needed some money. So
yeah,
the quickest thing to do was to become a foot health practitioner. So I became a foot health practitioner before podiatrist.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so I think that was the quick path in. Mum needed some help with work, so kind of made sense at that age. Um,
How long's the foot health practitioner course?
it's basically a year, so there's quite a few different courses, varying studying, and yeah, different people you speak to will say different things about fit health practitioners. But essentially, it's online. You do some practical training at the end. I did mine through the May Institute, so they're I suppose the probably most recognised, yeah, fit health practitioner course. But yeah,
Are you
it's
learning
quite.
on the job as well? So were you working with your mum and
I
doing the
was
course at the same time? So you were earning income over that year, or no, you had to give up that year and
no,
actually study?
no. So yeah, so essentially, I was working in a bar pretty much
Yep.
whilst studying for that. Really, looking back now, I probably should have done the course whilst I was away traveling, but that was never going to happen whilst I was having fun.
You wouldn't have
Um,
done the work. You would have been having too much fun in New Zealand, Australia, and Thailand. And I could just picture you saying to your friends, "Oh, sorry guys, going to go back to the room a little early. I have a module I've got to get through." It wouldn't have happened.
just would never have happened. No, no,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, no. So I worked in a cocktail bar, learned how to make 50 different cocktails. So I wasn't.
And that's a
I was living
skill
a good
that,
life.
but that's a skill that'll never be wasted.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. So essentially, I became a fit health practitioner, and then I always wanted to do something else, but I still wasn't like 100% set on podiatry. I should have been with the family, yeah, the family being in it. And then I just went to a conference once, and there was a lady called Barbara Wolf. So she taught at Brighton University, so that that's where I live pretty much. So it kind of all tied in quite well. And she just said, "Look, you're quite young. You've got your whole life ahead of you. You should do the podiatry degree." And I said, I don't know whether I'll get into.
Yeah.
Will you? I don't think they're going to take me because I've not got the best grades or whatever. And she essentially set up an interview for me to start at Brighton Uni. Yeah, so that's where it all began, I suppose, where it all kind of clicked into place.
So,
Of
out of
course,
curiosity, who
yeah.
did it first, your uncle or your mum?
You know what? I've never been asked that question. I don't know. I'll have to ask.
Yeah, fine, because it'd be
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah,
yeah.
was it? Well, is your uncle older than your mum or younger?
No, they're only a couple of years apart, so probably I haven't got the answer on that one. Sorry, mate. You might.
No, no, that's okay. So when you decided that you were going to do podiatry, was your mum, your uncle, and your granddad just chuffed that you were actually going to do it?
Yeah, well, my mum definitely was. So, as I was never pushed into doing it, which
Yeah,
seems a bit crazy. My mum essentially she had three kids under three, so really she was doing it part time as well as raising kids, which obviously, as I'm sure you've found out, it's quite a easy way of getting into podiatry and having children, that sort of thing. So it's quite a flexible. I think yeah, the word
yeah.
flexible. It's quite a flexible job if you need it to be. So yeah, she was quite a big inspiration because she had, yeah, three kids under three, doing a podiatry business, and she'd done another business as well, doing selling prom dresses. So that was quite
As you do.
going back about 20 years. It was quite a big
Yeah.
thing. Like they've just started over here. Yeah, so she's quite a good business person. So she saw a little market there. Yeah, so I guess that's where I get my inspiration for working hard. Really is from my mum.
You know,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think my mum was a huge influence on me, and I was just brought up. No matter where I worked, be the first one there, be the last one to leave, and work twice as hard as everybody else. And therefore, if they're ever looking at getting rid of someone, it will never, under any circumstances, be you. And I just carried that on through my whole podiatry career, and even with my own business, first one there, last one to leave. And I would work harder than anybody else, whether I was seeing patients or just working in the background. I
Mm.
just never got tired because I just knew the work has to get done. So I thought now would be a perfect time to just dive in and remind everybody that if you're looking or considering a podiatry business coach, before you reach out to some of the larger coaching companies, please go to my website, tysonfranklin.com, and read through the coaching section. You'll see I've got a model there called the Thriving Podiatry Business Model. And after you read through everything, there's also a link to my online calendar. From there, we can organize a 30-minute Zoom call. We'll have a bit of a talk. I'll explain the Thriving Podiatry Business Model in a bit more detail. And you may find just after that call, that is all you need just to give yourself a little bit of guidance. But if you want to take it further, I can give you more information. So please go to my website, tysonfranklin.com, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Okay, let's get back to the interview.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Even the job I had as working in the bar, the guy that ran it, he had a particular checklist of how he wanted things to be run, but he was doing that himself as well. So he'd go in there first thing in the morning. He was the first one there. he was doing these checklists. So then you look at him and go, actually, he's working hard. I'll work hard for him.
Mm.
So you respected him because he was working hard as well. It wasn't a case of he was sitting down on the beach whilst you're working to pay for him. And I think I take that into what I do now work wise as well.
Yeah, some people, I think it's built into them to do that. And I never felt like I was burning the candle at both ends. I never felt like I was overworked because I was actually enjoying the process of doing it. It was fun. And even if I got there before everyone else and left after everyone else, during the day didn't mean I was always there. I could zip off and do other things that I wanted to do that just made the day easier. So after you graduated, you didn't
Yes.
work for your
Yeah.
mum straight away. You went in the NHS.
Yeah. I just, don't know why. I fancied starting in the NHS. I think different people you speak to, different universities will push, not influence you into
Yeah.
which industry you go into. And some are more heavy NHS, some more heavy private. And we were always told, oh, make sure you do a couple of years in the NHS. That will set you in a good way. So yeah, and then a job just fell on my lap in where I live. So I did an interview, got the job. So yeah, essentially started working with the NHS. Done that for about 2 years, and then I just got bored of having not bored. Sorry, well, let's rephrase
Oh, no, you
that.
can use the word bored.
So I there wasn't enough technology and stuff like that going
Yeah.
on within the NHS. I was quite frustrated. The progress was slow. Um, and dealing with a lot of wounds. I know you don't like wounds as well,
Oh,
so
no, I don't.
it's dealing with wounds. You'd have a 20-minute appointment, and you basically be just like sort of bit of patchwork, and then they'll be back in the next week for the same thing,
Oh,
and
no.
yeah,
So
yeah. So
after NHS then, so you went and worked in somebody else's private practice?
yeah, I did up in Sevenoaks. So it's like a commuter's link into London. So it's quite an affluent area. So I was working in a lady's clinic, Kelly, and she essentially it was like a one chair clinic. So when she wasn't there, I was there.
Yeah.
So it worked for a while. It was fine, but there was no real team there because it was pretty much
It's you?
either me or her. Yeah. So there was like
Mm.
no kind of like team morale or anything like that, which I felt was missing. Yeah.
Yeah. So when did
Um,
you,
yeah.
after working with that person, did you then work for your mum before having your own practice, or you just went from there straight into your own practice?
I did a little bit of work for my mum, always on the side, and then
Yeah.
and then basically I got things happen for a reason, don't they? Sometimes I got a random phone call from a good friend of mine, Elizabeth. So she's a podiatrist where I live, and she said, "Look, I'm thinking of scaling up the business. I want to pursue something else." And she said, "Do you want to buy it off me?" I said, "Let's talk."
Yeah.
So essentially, that's what happened. Really, I ended up taking on her business to start with, which was obviously a good sort of starting point. So it was just literally a one chair clinic. It was a different name to what it is now. So there was loads of things I wanted to change within it, but essentially I took on a patient list and had a bit of a nice little clinic running.
So what year did you buy the clinic?
Where are we now? Probably 6 years ago. So that would have been 2000. God,
19?
what was that? Yeah, 2019. Yeah.
So when she sold it to you and then
Yeah.
you've taken it over, then you've had it for about 5 years. And then all of a sudden you were informed that, oh, this place, buildings are getting knocked down and developers are going to build flats there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, isn't
So
that just every
yeah.
business owner's dream of just, that's the last thing you
it
want to
was
hear, isn't it?
it was 2 days before Christmas as well. So it was like a nice little
Oh,
Christmas present. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh, humbug.
Um,
Like it's like Scrooge, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
Were you given
But
much
yeah,
warning? How much warning were you given when they said,
we
we're going to tear this place down? Did they give you like 12 months, 6 months, or was it shorter?
so we got given 6 months notice from that letter, but we knew a little bit before that we knew developers had taken it over, and we basically all went, oh god, here we go, because it was
Yeah.
basically built with there was 8 units there. There was like loads of different like multidisciplinary things going on. So there was like a sports massage guy upstairs, guy doing Herbalife next door to me. So there was like a mixture of all these kind of like little health hubs going on. Yeah, so essentially they were chucking out 8 local businesses, and
Mm.
nothing you could do about nothing you can do about it really.
So once that clinic closed, or when you knew it was closing, where you ended up moving to, was it far from where the clinic was actually located?
Yeah, so essentially where we've moved to is literally like 2 roads away and on the main high street. So what actually happened? I rang an estate agents up trying to look at another place, And they said, "Oh, sorry, that one's gone, but we have this one." And the pictures for it online were like rubbish. So I never even thought about looking at it.
Mm.
So again, it just all kind of fell into line where the estate agent could have said nothing and I would never have known about it, but they essentially told me to come and have a look. That's their job, isn't it, really? But
So was it in a
yeah,
better location? Like the new place
yeah,
was a better location than the other one, which is probably why business increased. I know my clinic in Cairns, when we were down not a quiet road, it was still a popular road that everyone knew, and we were in a small shopping centre there. But when we moved from there and we went onto the main road in Cairns, almost overnight, 25-30% increase in business, bang, just like that, just by being in a more prominent location. And of course, we paid more rent to be in a more prominent location, but what we paid in rent and what we turned over it was worth every cent.
absolutely. Yeah. So essentially, our rent doubled, but we gained another clinic room, and we were in a better location. We had a nice reception area. It was just so much better. But
Did you buy
we
it
needed that.
or rent it?
No, no. So we're still renting it because obviously
Okay.
we were given that 6 months notice. There was just no chance to really get anything in place to buy somewhere really. It was just a case of we need to find somewhere else, but we'll make sure we find somewhere better. So
Yeah.
that was the idea. I'm
That's
quite
a good
lucky that
point that you
my
bring up then, though. That's a really
mm,
good point because I always think if you're going to move your clinic from one place to another, it's always going to be an improvement from where it was.
yeah,
And because sometimes they'll think, oh, I want to save money by being down a small alleyway or off a back street. But you don't realize, yes, you might pay more rent to be somewhere more prominent, but you will get more foot traffic. You have more cars going past. And yeah, so sometimes there is that balance between saving money, being a more prominent location. And I definitely think it's worth the extra rent.
I totally agree. I can tell you from our figures, it definitely is. It's better to be in a better location. And I always ask new patients, where did they hear about us? And so many of them, oh, I was just walking past, that sort of thing, which they wouldn't have done for the old clinic.
So at what point so you moved in there, you've employed a couple of new graduates, your business obviously really increased by being in a more prominent location. So I think anyone at the moment who's thinking about, oh, I'm thinking about moving my practice, if there's something that's $500 or £500 more per month, believe me, if it's in a better spot with better parking, like what
Yeah,
percentage did your business go up by moving?
because with double rooms, we're basically doubling. We got double the turnover. So
Yeah,
even though the rent's gone up, let's say ballpark £500 a month, we're earning three times on top of that. So yeah, we've been able to employ two people, so it's
yeah,
doing good. I think 15 new patients every week for the last 6 months
yeah.
without doing anything.
I think it's good. I remember when we moved, I think we were paying like maybe $1,500 a month rent going back 20 something years ago. And then when we moved, it was $4,000 a month rent. And we went, oh
Yeah.
my God. And it was like going from a 90 square meter clinic to a 180 square meter clinic. But our turnover at the time went from, say, $30,000 a month to $70,000 a month in a matter of 2 or 3 months. And you went, oh my God, the move was well worth it.
Yeah. I think obviously, yeah, when we moved as well, we realized, okay, we've got a good chance here to promote this new business. So we're going to get someone down to video and open day and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
really go to town. If you're setting a new clinic up, really go to town on that open day because or for the first week, just get some videos going, really get the local community all involved because that really helped.
It's also
People
good too. I
getting
think if you're in a main road and if people are saying they ring up, oh, where's your clinic? Or you're talking to someone at a networking event, where's your clinic? Oh, do you know where the big Marlin is? Yeah, oh, we're across the road from that. Do you know where the post office is? Yeah, we're 50 meters down the road from that. So when you're in a prominent location, it's really easy to direct people on top of people just driving past and seeing it.
yeah. Well, that's yeah, and there's a like a car park very close by, so people can just use that and 2 hours free parking, perfect.
Oh, that's yeah. And if you're with them more than 2 hours, then you're doing something wrong. So okay, let's move on. What was the light
Cool.
bulb moment that made you realize that podiatrists and foot health practitioners in your area, you should be networking with them and not actually seeing them as competition?
So yeah, the moment was obviously when COVID hit. I took over being the secretary of our branch at the Royal College of Podiatry.
Okay.
So we kind of put my hand up. Muggins over here put his hand up and said, "Yeah, okay, I'll take that on, no problem." Essentially, the lady that had done a very good job, but she'd been doing it for 20 odd years and wanted someone else to take it on. So essentially, I took on this role as the East Sussex branch meeting secretary. And I would be in charge of organising all these events. So we would meet up as podiatrists every 3 months or so, and we'd have a guest speaker there or something. And really, what would happen? People would turn up, you'd do the meeting, you go home, and no one was really like networking or like chatting to each other. And I don't know, it just really, I felt like people should chat more. People should talk more about what they like with it, what they like within podiatry and stuff like that. So everyone likes doing biomechanics. Not everyone likes doing nail surgery. Not everyone's got shockwave therapy. If you start chatting to people, you soon realise, oh, actually, I've got a patient that maybe could go to this person. They're more suited for them rather than me. And there's no shame in that. There might be a patient that you can't treat. Someone else might be able to do a better job.
Yeah, it's true.
But I feel like there's not a lot of people that talk about that. It's more, oh, I'm a podiatrist. I'm going to treat whatever comes through the door. So essentially, it just got my head thinking about if you can get referral links. So there's plenty of podiatrists in my local area that don't do nail surgery. We do. So if we can connect with them, and they have a patient that's got a really bad ingrown toenail, where they're going to send them? Well, they're going to send them to us. So it's just a really easy referral source. It literally happened yesterday. I had a voice message from another podiatrist. You might get a phone call from X, Y, and Z. He's got an ingrown toenail, and yeah, I've recommended him come and see you. And then I'm actually seeing him tomorrow.
That's the difference between having an abundance mindset and having a scarcity mindset. I think if a podiatrist is so scared of losing a patient and they want to hang on to every single person that comes through the door, even if they're not qualified or they don't even like doing certain work, but they're so scared on losing a patient because they just want the money, that scarcity mindset it comes across everything in your life. And it's reflected in everything you do as well. Whereas if you have an abundance mindset and just think, you know what, there's always going to be enough patients for everybody. And if I know the podiatrist down the road is so much better at doing wounds, I'm sending them down the road. I don't want to do them.
Exactly.
And vice versa. They might have something that they know that your clinic might be better at. But if you have an abundance mindset, you can see it in your clinic because you will spend money on equipment. You'll spend money on furniture. You will have more staff. The place will look nicer because you're not scared that, I'm trying to save money, so I'm going to have a really rickety old crappy chairs in the reception. If they ever got that way, you just replace them because you know the money is going to be there. It will actually come through. So I think it's a great mindset to have.
Yeah, and it's definitely helped me because it's more just it just makes everything more fun, really, having other podiatrists. It's more, rather than having competition, have a community, the community of podiatrists. It can be quite a daunting thing, can't it? You get things in your clinic that you're not quite sure on what to do. You've got this little network there of people that you can chat to. Obviously, there's Facebook groups you can chat in, but that's not really my cup of tea, putting a picture up of someone's foot and then go, hey, guys, can you help me out? It should be, I feel like there's enough people in your local network. You should reach out to them first rather than a massive group.
Yeah. I think the thinking's changing. I actually believe, going back to older podiatrists, even ones that are older than me, that they were I don't think they networked at all. Everyone was in their own little silo of practices. They looked at every other podiatrist as being a competitor. And I think that mindset carried through the next few generations of podiatry, where we were all tainted by the old podiatrist thinking. But I think the younger podiatrists coming through now, they're willing to put their hand up and say, hey, this is what I actually like doing. Somebody else going, well, I don't like doing that. And I think they're actually talking and meeting each other more at conferences and events. And I can see in 20 or 30 years' time that the networking amongst podiatrists, they will actually be really looking at each other as colleagues and not competitors.
And a bit like we came up to your networking thing up in Liverpool.
My marketing masterclass. How bloody awesome was that? That was a fun day, wasn't it?
It was a very fun day, yeah. Rock, paper, scissors was not my friend in the morning. I was losing all the time, but yeah.
Just to let people know, when I did the marketing workshop, I said, we're going to have a rock, paper, scissors champion. And I actually got a mug done up, the rock, paper, scissors emblem on there, and Liverpool 2025 champion. So throughout the day, we had everyone competing against each other. And then it came down to a draw at the end. And there were two people up there, best of five. And then we had a winner. And then I did it at the Foot and Ankle Show with like over 300 people in the room, had a massive rock, paper, scissors competition there. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. So when I do the workshop on the Gold Coast in June, if anyone, go to my website, tysonfranklin.com, click on events, we will have a rock, paper, scissors champion 2025 at the Gold Coast as well. It's a cup, it's a mug, it's a trophy you want to win.
It's well worth having, definitely. I didn't win it, but
and it was something you did, which is what sparked this episode. Was you, when we were at the Foot and Ankle Show the day or the next day after the marketing masterclass, you said, "Oh, here's a photo of 12 of us got together last night after the masterclass. We went out for dinner together." And you said none of you knew each other beforehand. I don't know who came up with the idea, who wants to go out for dinner, but 12 of you went out together and you showed me the photo. And I couldn't have been happier, because that's what I love to see at my workshops, is trying to get everybody involved with each other and everybody leaving being podiatry friends. Because I try to encourage everyone in the room, keep exchanging business cards. Whoever's butt you kick in the rock, paper, scissors, get their business card so you can collect their scalp.
Yeah, and it worked. It worked really well. It was more like when we went for the meal, it was like there was 2 or 3 groups that were going for dinner, and then we kind of just, we might as well make it a bigger group. Let's all do it together. We're given this little VIP room where we managed to get ourselves in there. I think we dropped your name in there, and they gave us this special room.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so much influence in Liverpool. Yeah, just drop my name. It'll open doors.
They always kicked us out the door. Yeah.
Yeah, they said, "Oh no, you're in the wrong place. We don't need that riffraff in here." But what was it, the conversation around the table though, that when you were actually doing when everybody was there, were you talking about the workshop, or were you just talking about podiatry in general, or were you just talking about your lives and what you were doing?
I think to start with, it was more about like just getting to know each other, because obviously during the day we were quite busy doing stuff, so we didn't get too much time to delve into each other's lives. So it was more about getting the scope of how big a business people had. There was obviously people there that had 6 or 7 clinics. There was others that were running 2 or 3 really successful ones for the last 20, 30 years. There's people like me that have obviously just moved into a new clinic doing all right. And then there was, again, some others that were just doing like domiciliary stuff. So there was a real varied group in there. And then there was a couple of girls from Iceland as well. So it was a real mixture of loads of people.
I am getting them on the podcast at some stage.
Perfect.
Because
yeah, absolutely.
I remember when they registered for the workshop, and I went, someone from Iceland coming along. And for me, being in Australia, Iceland seems so far away. But once we were there, and I said to her, "How far is Iceland from here?" She went, 2.5 hour flight. I forget how close everything is.
To me, it feels ages away, but yeah. Again, they were great girls. Like you say, just that real mixture of different people in one room. You can't get much better than that, really. And all different ideas. Yeah.
And I take it you would have all exchanged business cards. Like, it's only been a couple of weeks since the Foot and Ankle Show and since the workshop. But have you maintained contact, reached out to each other in any way?
Yeah, 100%. So a few of us follow each other on Facebook, social media. So we're following each, personally as well as our business pages. So one guy that was on the course was doing actually a live Facebook feed tonight. So he was doing like a shockwave thing on Facebook. So I supported him, and I just watched it and asked a couple of questions just to try and build a bit of revenue for him. So yeah, we're all helping each other straight away.
Who was doing that?
That was Dean Walsh. Yeah, so he was doing a live Facebook thing tonight. So literally like a couple of hours ago. So I just commented on that, and he's commented on a few networking events that we've been doing.
Yeah,
Osama as well. So Sam, he's done a couple of networking things on Facebook. So liking their stuff, they liking our stuff. It just it builds a bit of traction there as well, doesn't it? So
yeah, and I tell you right now,
supporting each other.
Like, hearing all this could make me happier, because that's what I always want from the workshops, is people connecting. But I just think the more podiatry friends you can gather in your circle, and you can maintain contact with each other on a regular basis, whenever you're in need for something, or you have a question, or you might be feeling down about something, you've got people that you get to know, like, and trust over a period of time that you can actually reach out to and say, hey, I'm having this problem. I'm having this concern. But if you just stay within yourself, just, smile and wave at people at conferences and don't actually get to know them, don't go and have dinner with them, don't go to workshops, because as I said, when you're at a workshop together, it actually bonds you even more. I just think you're missing out on so much just in your career long term.
No, definitely. Yeah. So that, yeah, loads of people that were at that networking thing. We are now all friends on Facebook, and we're supporting each other with their businesses. And like you say, some of them have got really good businesses. So I'm picking their brains a little bit, and they're picking my brains a little bit. So yeah, working really well together. And obviously, we had that networking thing event at our clinic recently, where we invited all the local podiatrists and
Yeah, how did that go?
FHPs down. It went really well, yeah. So that basically came about. So off of our branch meeting, we had another little group that kind of get together in the pub every now and again. So yeah,
Where else would you do it in the UK but at a pub?
Yeah, there you go. That's it. All good business meetings take place in a pub, no?
It all starts with splitting the G. So I've learned.
There you go. Which you've done very well, actually. Yeah. Was that first time?
That was my first time. Yeah, it was my first attempt at splitting the G. And if anyone doesn't know what that is, it's getting a glass of Guinness. You got to drink it, and then you put the glass down, and the foam has got to split the G perfectly through the middle of the G. So first attempt, I nailed it. And then I had 7 more attempts after that. And
a bit more blurry.
And yeah, a couple were good, a couple were a bit hit and miss. So what do you call it? It was you had an open event at your clinic.
At our clinic, yeah. So yeah. So rather than us going to the pub, I said, come to my clinic instead. Some of them are a bit like, oh, what? I want to go down the pub. But yeah, we hosted the event, and then we opened it up to a few more local podiatrists and FHPs. And yeah, it was just a Tuesday night. I basically got a couple of live patients to come in. So I picked 2 people that I thought were really good patients. So one was a friend of my brother's. He had a verruca, and he wanted to try the Swift treatment that we use. And obviously, a lot of other podiatrists haven't seen that being used or don't know what it is. So really, it was just a case of showing them how it works. And we literally used it there and then with everyone watching. It's great.
Yeah, I think more podiatrists need to do it. When I had my clinic in Cairns, we used to get maybe every 6 months, somebody would just ring up out of the blue and go, hey, I happen to be in town. I'm a podiatrist in another area. Is there any chance I could just drop in and have a look at your clinic? Yeah, I've heard a lot about it. I go, yeah, come on in. I would show them around. I go, and we use this form for doing this, and I give them a copy of it. And we use this here, and I give them a copy. And somebody said to me, oh, aren't you scared that they'll take all your ideas? I'm like, if someone can take all my ideas in an hour meeting being in my clinic, okay, then I don't have many ideas. Okay, but if they can just gain some inspiration from my clinic, go back and improve their clinic 20%, I'll look at it that if everybody in the profession improve their clinic 10 or 20%, the podiatry profession would kick everyone's ass.
That's the number one question I've been asked is, are you not scared that they're going to nick your ideas? Like, it's literally the same as what you said. Like, good luck to them.
Yeah, because to me, every clinic you could spend a day with me in my old clinic and you would pick up a lot of information, but then it's up to you to then go away with that information and actually do the work and apply it, put the systems in place. I could tell you everything that I do, but lazy people won't do the work. But those who are hardworking, they'll see that, they'll take the ideas and they will run with it. And I think if they end up having a better clinic, I think great, because like in Cairns now, but my old clinic is across the road. Kyle Richardson has a clinic, F&Q, podiatry and orthotics. It's probably the best clinic in Cairns now. And I caught up with Kyle only a week or so ago at an event in Cairns. I've never looked at Kyle as being a competitor. I've always looked at Kyle as being a colleague. And over the years, we've got to know each other. And I think that's the way it should be. And his clinic is across the road from my old clinic.
Yeah, says a lot, doesn't it?
Well, I look at it this way. Even if I still had my old clinic, having him across the road would get me fired up to go, okay, yes, we're businesses are in competition, but we're still colleagues. And I think if we both kept pushing each other, how much better both clinics would end up being.
Yeah, and you get respected by the public, and they actually know, oh, they're podiatry. Blimey, there's two clinics doing really well there. Then that's a good profession. That's a very professional thing.
And how good would it be for the public too if you had a networking event, two podiatrists who have got the two biggest clinics actually being friendly and talking to each other, and then looking at that and going, well, you don't see that very often. That would actually make the profile of podiatry look better as well.
Yeah, 100%. We borrowed a little bit of equipment for this networking event off another podiatry clinic, which I dropped back off today. I dropped them in some chocolates as well, just to say thanks. And we're all just high-fiving each other and saying, do you want a cup of tea? And I said, oh, no, I'm busy, got to rush off. But, it's just a nice environment rather than being all competition down the road. Let's not engage with them. They're the enemy.
And when I did my talk on day one of the Foot and Ankle Show, the happiness and achievement are independent variables, one of the things I actually said in that talk was just about happy podiatrists are usually podiatrists that have a great network of podiatry friends. And they're also the podiatrists that stay in the podiatry profession longer, because you're not going to leave podiatry if you've got a really strong group of podiatry friends. Because even if you felt like leaving, you would talk to them and they go, don't be silly. This profession's better than anything else. So I think what you're doing is fantastic. And I think more podiatrists need to be doing that.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, we're trying.
So if I had a hat on right now, I'd take my hat off to you, but I don't.
Hey, there we go.
So is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
No, I think obviously that networking event was the main thing, really. Just engage with other people. So got some pizzas in that night as well. So we ordered some pizzas in whilst we were doing case studies. We had a couple of beers, that sort of thing at the end. I didn't do that whilst I was treating, obviously, but
hold my pint while I start using the equipment.
Yeah, exactly. And then I suppose the only other thing was really being, I would say, be relatable on if you're doing social media, try and be a little bit personable on there as well. So in terms of, I've got two kids and a wife that are amazing, and I will plug them on our social media because they're a part of my life, and my patients come to the clinic and they'll say things like, oh, I saw Ollie on Facebook the other day, and oh God, he's growing up quick, isn't he? How old is he now? And that's just little things like that. So you can actually have a decent conversation with someone in your clinic rather than how's the weather outside. Another boring conversation, right? And,
I know.
Exactly. You don't want to talk about the weather. You want to talk about actual things that make you tick, which my children obviously do. So when people talk about that makes me become a better podiatrist because I talk more openly to them, and hopefully they then will open up more to me as well.
Yeah, I think children are a great marketing tool for your podiatry business. And I know some people, and I've said this heaps of time, oh no, I want to keep my podiatry life and my personal life completely separate. And I'm going, and that's why people don't trust you, because they see you as this mythical being. They don't see you as a human being. I'm not saying you post a photo of your house and go, hey, this is where I live. But I don't think there's a problem sharing a little bit about yourself, your family, what you do in your business, and you become far more relatable.
Absolutely. And and I suppose the only other thing is now having team members that are taking on two new graduates in the last 6 months is that's quite a bold move, really. Taking on, but I've absolutely loved it because the mentoring side of it, I found that that's what I like doing. So like next month we're taking on a student from the university, so they're coming in for a whole month. So that kind of mentoring thing I've found is something that I enjoy doing. It's getting the right people in place.
I think it's fantastic.
Both the new members of staff are, Joyce and Alex, they're great. They're the people I want there. We're quite open about talking about things as well as working hard as well. So
if anyone wants to reach out to you, what's the best way of doing it? So if somebody says, oh, this Andrew guy sounds really cool, I want to connect with him. And I tell people to do this all the time. If you listen to a guest on this podcast and you go, wow, I really related to what they said, or I want to know more about this, please just reach out to them. I'm yet to have a guest go, oh, no, I don't want anyone to talk to me. Oh, maybe one or two, but you're not one of them. So how can people get hold of you if they want to reach out, connect with you, and become part of your podiatry network?
Yeah, I guess the best way is for them to follow us on Facebook. So with Sussex Foot Care, if they want to follow us on Facebook, see what we're doing, we put everything on our social media there, so they can have a look at what we're posting, take a few ideas from that if they like, no problems. Obviously, personally as well, they can add me on Facebook, Andrew Albon. I'm happy to chat to anyone really that wants to talk about maybe they're having to move clinic or wanting to hire staff, new graduates, anything like that. I would definitely recommend taking on new graduates. And if anyone wants to have a chat about that, then 100% Facebook's probably the best way to reach out to me. Yeah,
that's right. I'll put all the links in the show notes. So, Andrew, I want to thank you for coming on the Podiatry Legends podcast. I've really enjoyed this. I think it was an important topic. And I think your career so far for the last 10 or so years has been quite interesting. And I can't wait to see where it goes over the next 10 years. So thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you, Tyson. Take care, mate.